Have you ever had one of those days where everything just falls apart before noon?
That feeling is exactly why we made this episode. But let me back up for a second. Hey everyone, welcome back. I am Logan.
And I am PJ. This is where English stops being a textbook and starts being something you actually use.
We are talking about the past today. No grammar rules. No drills. Just conversation. By the time we finish, you will notice something. You already know how to do this.
Most learners study past tense for years. They pass tests. But when someone says, "Tell me about your weekend," they go silent. That is not a grammar problem. That is a practice problem.
And that is what we are fixing today. By the end of this episode, you will see that your English is better than you think.
If that sounds like what you need, hit like and subscribe. Let me start with something that happened to me this morning. I woke up and my phone was dead. No alarm, no sound. I looked at the time and it was already 8:45.
Wait, what time were you supposed to wake up?
7. I lost almost 2 hours. I jumped out of bed, ran to the bathroom, brushed my teeth in about 30 seconds, and ran out the door. Then I got to my car and realized I forgot my laptop at home.
So you had to go back.
I had to go back. Another 20 minutes gone. I walked into work almost an hour late. My boss just looked at me and said, "Rough morning." I said, "You have no idea."
I had a morning like that last week. I spilled tea on my new bag right before a meeting. I stood in my kitchen holding the bag and just stared at it. I had 10 minutes to get to the bus stop.
That was it?
I had 10 minutes. There was no backup plan. I wiped it with a towel and went anyway. But I felt weird all day. Every time someone looked at me, I thought they were looking at the stain.
Were they?
No, only I was thinking about it.
Here is the thing. When someone asks you why you were late or why you seem distracted, you need to explain all of that. My phone died. I forgot my laptop. I spilled tea on my bag. Those are past tense sentences. And you just made them without thinking.
That's it. You just did it.
So let me ask you about last weekend. What did you actually do?
Saturday was a mess. Not a bad mess. A funny mess. I decided to make pasta from scratch for the first time. I have never made dough in my life. I bought flour and eggs. I followed a recipe on my phone, but I made one big mistake.
What mistake?
I added too much water. The dough was so sticky I could not pick it up. It stuck to my hands, to the counter, to the rolling pin. I stood there for 20 minutes trying to fix it. I added more flour, then more water, then more flour. I ended up with enough dough for 20 people.
That escalated fast.
My kitchen looked like a flour bomb exploded. My dog walked through it and left white paw prints across the floor.
Did you eat it?
I did. It was fine. Not great. Just fine.
My weekend was quieter. I went for a long walk on Sunday. I was not going anywhere specific. I walked for about an hour and found a small park I had never seen before. There was a bench under a big tree. I sat there for 30 minutes and just watched people walk their dogs.
That sounds peaceful.
It was. I did not take my phone. I did not listen to anything. I just sat there. I forgot how good that feels.
Funny thing is, sometimes the best memories are the ones where nothing happened. When you share that, people connect. They've been there.
So if you are learning English, do not just memorize, "I went for a walk." Remember the feeling, sitting on a bench under a tree with no phone and no rush.
Now this is where things get uncomfortable.
Let me take you back. What is something you loved doing as a kid that you never do anymore?
I loved building snow forts in the winter. My brother and I would pack snow into blocks and stack them up. We would make walls and tunnels. Then we would sit inside and eat frozen oranges. My mom would call us from the window, and we would pretend we could not hear her.
When did you stop?
I did not know exactly. Maybe when I was 13. One winter, I just did not go outside. I stayed inside and played video games instead. Now I live in a place where it barely snows. I miss it sometimes. Not the cold, the building.
I have a similar thing but different. I loved making mixtapes, not digital playlists, actual cassette tapes. I would sit by the radio for hours waiting for my favorite songs to come on. Then I would press record at the perfect moment. I had a whole collection of tapes with songs cut off at the beginning and end.
Do you still have them?
No, I lost them in a move years ago, but I remember the feeling of waiting, the patience, the excitement when the song finally started.
See, no matter what you did as a kid, you have stories. When you say I built snow forts with my brother or I made mixtapes from the radio, you are not using past tense because you studied a rule. You are using it because you are remembering something real.
And the next part is the one people avoid. That is why they stay stuck.
What is that?
The moments that did not go well, the times you felt small, the things you wish you had done differently.
All right, I have one. This still makes me cringe. Last year I was at a grocery store. I saw a woman with a baby and I wanted to be nice. I said, "Oh, what a cute baby. How old is he?" She looked at me and said she is a girl. I felt terrible.
Oh no!
It got worse. I said sorry, she has so much hair. I just assumed. The woman smiled, but it was a tight smile. I walked away and did not go back to that store for 2 months.
That is rough. I have one from college. I was in a study group. Someone asked a question about the homework. I answered with confidence. I was so sure I was right. Then another person said, "That is not what the professor said." They opened their notes and read the exact opposite of what I just said.
What did you do?
I said oh and did not speak for the rest of the session. I just nodded at everything everyone said. I wanted to disappear into my chair.
Do you remember what the question was?
Not at all. I remember the feeling, my face getting hot, my voice getting quiet.
Here is something most people never realize. You do not remember grammar mistakes. You remember how you felt when everyone looked at you.
Say that again.
You do not remember grammar mistakes. You remember how you felt when everyone looked at you.
That is huge. And if you are learning English, those awkward moments are your best practice. You ordered the wrong food. You asked a question that sounded strange. You said the wrong word. Those are all past tense stories. And they are the ones people actually want to hear.
Because everyone has been there. When you say I guessed the wrong age or the wrong name, everyone laughs. They have done the same thing.
Stick around for what comes next. Let me ask you something different. What is one choice you made that scared you, but you did it anyway?
I quit a job with nothing else lined up. That sounds dramatic, but it is true. I was 27. I worked at a place for 4 years. I was good at my job, but I was miserable. Every Sunday night, I felt sick. One Friday, I just walked into my boss's office and said I am done.
Just like that.
Just like that. I did not have another job. I had savings for maybe 3 months. I went home that night and thought, what did I just do?
How did it work out?
I was unemployed for 2 months. I was scared the whole time. But I used those months to apply for jobs I actually wanted. I found a better position with better pay and better people. If I had not quit, I would still be there feeling sick every Sunday.
That takes guts. My big choice was different. It was moving back home to help my parents. They are older. They needed someone around. I lived in a different city with a good job and good friends. I gave all of that up to move back to my small hometown.
Was it hard?
The first year was very hard. I missed my friends. I missed my old life. Sometimes I regretted the decision, but now I am glad I did it. My parents needed me, and I would have regretted not being there more than I regretted leaving.
So the scary moments, the ones that feel wrong at first, those are the ones that end up mattering most. And when you tell that story, you are not just practicing past tense. You are showing someone who you are.
That is when it clicks. You do not need fake sentences from a textbook. You already have real stories. You just need to practice telling them out loud.
Let me ask you about a first time. Something you tried and failed at first.
My first time trying to grow vegetables, I bought tomato plants. I put them on my balcony. I watered them every day. I talked to them. I checked on them like they were my children. 2 weeks later, they were all dead.
That is impressive in a bad way.
I overwatered them. I did not know that was possible. I thought more water meant more tomatoes. I was wrong. I killed those poor plants with kindness.
Did you try again?
I did. The next year I read about how much water they actually need. I was more careful. I got 6 tomatoes. They were small, but they were mine.
My first time was changing a flat tire on my car. I got a flat on a highway. I pulled over. I opened the trunk and found the spare tire in the jack. I had no idea what I was doing. I watched a video on my phone. I dropped the lug nuts twice. A man stopped to help me.
Did he do it for you?
He showed me how. He did not take over. He stood there and talked me through it. It took 45 minutes, but I did it myself, and I have changed 2 more tires since then without any help.
First time is messy. Second time is better. Third time is easy. First time cooking a new recipe. First time using a new tool. First time speaking English with a stranger. Messy first, better second, easy third.
When you say I killed my tomato plants or I dropped the lug nuts twice, the listener feels that. They have failed at something new too. Wait, there are a few words we just use that people actually say all the time. Let me pull them out.
Go ahead.
Disaster zone, a place that is extremely messy. My kitchen looked like a disaster zone.
Cringe. When something is so awkward, you feel uncomfortable remembering it. That story still makes me cringe.
Guts. Courage. It takes guts to quit a job with nothing else lined up.
Miserable. Very unhappy. I was good at my job, but I was miserable.
Overwater. To give a plant too much water. I overwatered my tomatoes.
Lug nuts. The small pieces that hold a tire on a car. I dropped the lug nuts twice.
And pattern. A repeating way things happen. Most first-time stories follow the same pattern.
7 of them. Write them down or just listen. They will show up again. Let me ask you something real. What is a small moment from your past that should not matter, but you still remember?
I have one. I was maybe 10 years old. My family went to a fair. There was a booth where you throw rings onto bottles. I tried 3 times and missed every time. The man running the booth gave me a small stuffed bear anyway. He said try again next year.
Do you still have the bear?
No, it fell apart years ago, but I remember that man's face. He did not have to give me anything. I did not win, but he saw a disappointed kid and decided to change that.
I have one like that. I was in high school. I forgot my lunch at home. I sat in the cafeteria with nothing to eat. A girl I barely knew put half of her sandwich on my tray. She did not say anything. She just did it. Then she started talking to me about a TV show.
Did you become friends?
We did. We sat together every day after that. I went to her wedding last year, all because of half a sandwich.
It is strange how that works. The big moments are fine, but the small moments are the ones that stay.
So now we want to hear from you. What is a small moment from your past that you still remember?
Write it in the comments. Start with I remember when or I will never forget. 3 sentences is enough. I remember when a bus driver waited for me even though I was running late. That small kindness made my day.
When you write that, You are not just practicing English, you are sharing something human. Someone else will read it and think, I have had a moment like that too.
That's it. English is not a test. It is just how people connect.
So here is what actually matters. You do not need perfect grammar. You need a moment and how you felt.
If you can tell your story, you can speak English.
No tricks. I stood in my kitchen holding that bag, not knowing what to do. I sat on a bench under a tree with no phone, just breathing. I dropped the lug nuts on the side of the road and felt completely lost.
If you have been listening to this whole episode, you are already different from the person who pressed play. Because you stayed. You listened. You are trying.
Most people stop after a few minutes. You made it here. That means you care. That means you will get better.
All right, here is our question for you. What is one small moment from your past that still makes you smile?
I will go first. A few years ago, I was having a terrible week. Nothing was going right. I was walking to my car and a stranger said, I like your jacket. That was it. 3 words. I smiled the whole drive home.
Mine is different. I remember my grandmother teaching me how to make her soup. I was 12. I did not want to learn. I wanted to play outside. But she made me stay. She showed me every step. Now she is gone. And I am the only one in my family who can make that soup.
Both of those moments are small, but they stayed. The past does not really go away. It stays with you in small ways.
Share your small moment in the comments. What still makes you smile? What still makes you grateful?
And before we go, I want to leave you with something, a mantra, something to say to yourself when you feel stuck.
Say it with us.
Every story I have is English I already know.
Write that down. Put it on your mirror. Say it every morning. You do not need new words. You need to trust the words you already have.
If this episode made you feel like, okay, maybe I can speak English, hit like.
And subscribe if you have not already. Click the bell.
Keep going. Keep telling your stories.
Remember, every story you have is English you already know.
All right, everyone. Take care of yourselves. We will see you in the next episode.
Bye for now.
Later.